On April 10th, 2025, a family visiting New York City set out on what was supposed to be a memorable sightseeing flight. Just minutes later, it would end in tragedy. Among those on board was Agustin Escobar, a senior Siemens executive who had recently become CEO of rail infrastructure at Siemens Mobility. Traveling with him were his wife, Mercy Camprubi Montal, also a Siemens executive, and their 3 children, aged 4, 8 and 10. The family had flown from Barcelona and were reportedly combining a business trip with a family holiday. They were also celebrating Mercy's 40th birthday. Before the flight, a photograph captured the family smiling in front of the helicopter. None of them could have known it would become the final image ever taken of them together. The Bell 206 helicopter took off from Lower Manhattan at approximately 2:59 p.m. The route followed a popular sightseeing path, passing landmarks including the Statue of Liberty before heading north toward the George Washington Bridge. Around 15 minutes into the flight, something went catastrophically wrong. Witnesses reported hearing a loud boom before seeing parts of the aircraft break apart as it descended toward the Hudson River. One witness said the tail section appeared to detach before the helicopter flipped and fell toward the water. Emergency crews rushed to the scene within minutes. Rescue boats entered the river, and first responders immediately began life-saving efforts. However, the damage was too severe. 4 victims were pronounced dead at the scene, while 2 others were later pronounced dead at a nearby hospital. The pilot, Sean Johnson, a former Navy serviceman who had recently achieved his dream of becoming a commercial helicopter pilot, also lost his life. The accident shocked Spain, the US, and the international business community. Colleagues described Escobar as an accomplished leader and, above all, a devoted family man. Friends and relatives remembered a family known for their warmth, ambition, and close bond. One of the most heartbreaking details emerged afterward. The couple's daughter was due to celebrate her 9th birthday the following day. Investigators later recovered large sections of the wreckage from the Hudson River, but the exact cause of the crash remains under investigation. What began as a routine tourist flight over one of the world's most famous skylines instead became one of the deadliest helicopter accidents New York City had seen in years. In June 2025, 26-year-old Brazilian traveler Juliana Marins was living the dream that many people only talk about. She had left home to backpack across Southeast Asia, visiting countries including Thailand, Vietnam, the Philippines, and Indonesia. Her journey eventually brought her to Mount Rinjani, a towering active volcano on the Indonesian island of Lombok that attracts thousands of hikers every year. During her trip, Juliana kept in contact with her family via text messages. This is some of what she said to her mother. "Mummy, I love you so much. I was heartbroken when we said goodbye. In fact, that's the only thing that worries me, letting you, Papi, or my sister be disappointed. Other than that, I'm not afraid of much. I was raised by a woman who can solve any problem and who is not afraid to take the plunge and go after her dreams. I'm like that too. I have different desires and dreams. I love you all very much, and I will always be grateful for all the support, care, and affection. That is what makes me not afraid." On June 21st, Juliana was hiking with a group near the volcano's crater when she reportedly became exhausted and stopped to rest. According to her family, she was left behind while the rest of the group continued ahead. At some point afterward, she slipped and fell hundreds of feet down a steep ravine. What happened next captured international attention. Drone footage recorded by other hikers later showed Juliana alive after the initial fall. The video appeared to show her sitting on the mountainside, injured but conscious, far below the main trail. Reports suggested rescuers could hear her calling for help, but reaching her proved extraordinarily difficult due to the steep terrain, unstable ground, dense fog, and poor visibility. Over the following days, rescue teams repeatedly attempted to reach her. However, conditions on the mountain continued to work against them. By the time rescuers were able to relocate her position, Juliana had fallen even further down the mountainside. Search teams, drones, specialist rescuers, and government officials became involved as the story spread across Brazil and beyond. On June 24th, rescuers finally reached her. Tragically, Juliana had not survived. An autopsy later concluded that she passed from severe injuries caused by blunt force trauma and internal bleeding. Investigators stated that the injuries were consistent with a major fall and estimated that death occurred shortly after impact. Her demise sparked widespread debate about rescue procedures, mountain safety, and whether more could have been done to save her. Juliana's family publicly criticized the response and called for further investigation, while Indonesian authorities pointed to the extreme conditions that rescuers faced throughout the operation. What began as an adventure across Southeast Asia ultimately became an international tragedy, with millions of people following the desperate rescue effort and hoping that Juliana would somehow make it home. Brazilian fitness influencer and triathlete Mara Flavia Arrojo shared a message with her followers about embracing life and making the most of every moment. It is harrowing in hindsight. Just days later, tragedy would strike during one of the biggest endurance events in the world. On April 18, 2026, the 38-year-old athlete was competing in Ironman Texas, a grueling race consisting of a 2.4-mile swim, a 112-mile bike ride, and a full marathon. Mara was no stranger to the challenge. She had completed at least 9 Ironman events since 2018 and had built a following of more than 60,000 people online by sharing her fitness journey and passion for endurance sports. The race began early that morning in Lake Woodlands near Houston. Around 7:30 a.m., volunteers and safety personnel noticed that something was wrong. Witnesses later recalled seeing distress among nearby swimmers and hearing calls for help. According to reports, Mara had disappeared beneath the surface during the swim portion of the event. A large search operation quickly began. Volunteers, safety crews, and emergency responders searched the area while divers entered the water. The conditions reportedly made visibility extremely difficult, with murky water limiting how far rescuers could see beneath the surface. After approximately 90 minutes of searching, divers located Mara's body in about 10 feet of water. Despite rescue efforts, she was pronounced dead at the scene. Authorities later confirmed Mara's identity and stated that preliminary investigations indicated she had drowned during the swimming portion of the race. A more thorough investigation was opened. The news shocked the triathlon community, particularly because Mara was an experienced competitor who had successfully completed numerous Ironman events throughout her career. Friends, fellow athletes, and followers paid tribute to her determination, positivity, and passion for pushing herself beyond her limits. Perhaps most haunting was a message she had shared shortly before the race. She wrote, "Enjoy this ride on the bullet train that is life." For many who followed her journey, those words took on a heartbreaking significance after her passing, transforming what had been intended as a motivational message into a lasting reminder of how quickly life can change. On August 3, 2023, in the town of Ipiranga, Brazil, Arthur Emmanuel Betancourt, age 7, was playing near his family's property when he climbed into a large pile of limestone powder that had been left nearby. Smiling at the camera and giving a double thumbs up, he appeared to be having fun, completely unaware of the danger surrounding him. What Arthur's family did not know was that powdered limestone can be extremely hazardous when inhaled. Commonly used in construction, cement production, and agriculture, the substance requires workers to wear protective equipment such as masks, gloves, and goggles. Authorities warn that breathing in large amounts of the dust can cause serious respiratory problems and other health complications. According to reports, Arthur inhaled particles from the powder while playing. Within minutes, he became seriously unwell. His family rushed him to hospital, but despite their efforts, his time on this earth had ended shortly after arrival. The heartbreaking photograph was later shared by Arthur's uncle, Romaldo, who described it as the last picture taken before the tragedy. He paid tribute to his nephew online, remembering Emmanuel as a treasured member of the family, whose life ended far too soon. The incident shocked Arthur's relatives, who said they had been completely unaware of the dangers associated with limestone powder. Following the tragedy, police opened an investigation into the circumstances surrounding his death. Arthur's story serves as a devastating reminder that everyday materials can pose serious risks when not taken seriously. A simple afternoon of play turned into an unimaginable loss, leaving a family mourning a young boy whose final photograph captured a moment of innocence and laughter just minutes before the end.
This is it. I mean, this is really it. This is the final curtain call. Okay?
After years of controversy, financial struggles, and relentless media attention, the king of pop appeared to be standing on the verge of a remarkable comeback. At 50 years old, he was preparing for This Is It, a series of 50 sold-out concerts at London's O2 Arena that would place him back in front of hundreds of thousands of fans. The shows carried enormous expectations. Jackson reportedly faced significant financial pressures, and the concerts were expected to generate hundreds of millions of dollars. Rehearsals had become intense, with long days spent perfecting choreography, music, and visual effects. Yet behind the scenes, concerns were growing about his physical condition. People close to the production described him as thin, exhausted, and struggling with chronic insomnia. In the weeks leading up to the concerts, there were reports of missed rehearsals and concerns from members of the production team. Some described him as anxious and emotionally fragile. Others worried that he was simply pushing himself too hard in an attempt to deliver the spectacular comeback everyone expected. Then came June 24, 2009. That evening, Jackson arrived at the Staples Center in Los Angeles for what would become his final rehearsal. Witnesses later said he seemed energetic and engaged. He rehearsed songs including Billie Jean, Thriller, and Smooth Criminal, moving across the stage with the same creativity that had made him famous decades earlier. Some members of the crew would later describe it as one of his strongest rehearsals in weeks. The rehearsal stretched past midnight. When it ended, Jackson reportedly hugged dancers, thanked crew members, and left the arena in good spirits. Photographs taken around this period would become some of the last images ever captured of him alive. They show a man who appeared tired and noticeably slimmer than in his prime, but still actively working towards a comeback that seemed just weeks away. Jackson returned to his rented home in Holmby Hills at around 1 a.m. According to later testimony, he struggled to sleep. Insomnia had reportedly plagued him for years, and his personal physician, Conrad Murray, remained at the house attempting to help him rest. Throughout the night, Murray administered various medications intended to induce sleep. However, Jackson reportedly remained awake and continued asking for propofol, a powerful anesthetic that he allegedly referred to as milk. As the morning progressed, Murray eventually administered the medication. At approximately 10:40 a.m., Jackson was given a dose of propofol while lying in bed. According to Murray's account, he briefly left the room and returned moments later to find Jackson unresponsive and struggling to breathe. Attempts were made to revive him, but the situation rapidly deteriorated.
Fire Paramedic 33, what is the emergency?
Yes, sir. I need an ambulance as soon as possible, sir.
Okay, sir. What's your address?
It's 100 North Carrollwood Drive, Los Angeles, California, 90077.
You said Carrollwood?
Carrollwood Drive, yes. Sir, we have a gentleman here that needs help, and he's not breathing yet. He's not breathing, and we're trying to pump him, but he's not.
Okay. Okay, how old is he?
He's 50 years old, sir.
50? Okay. He's unconscious, he's not breathing?
Yes, he's not breathing, sir.
Okay, and he's not conscious either? He's not
no,
breathing.
He's not conscious, sir.
Okay. All right, do you have him, is he on the floor? Where's he at right now?
He's on the bed, sir. He's on the bed.
Okay, let's get him on the floor.
Okay.
Okay, let's get him down to the floor. I'm going to help you with CPR right now, okay?
We need him. We need
Yes, we're already on our way there. We're on our way. I'm going to do as much as I can to help you over the phone. We're already on our way. Did anybody see him?
Yes, we have a personal doctor here with him, sir.
Oh, you have a doctor there?
Yes, but he's not responding to anything. No, he's not responding to CPR or anything, sir.
Oh, okay. Well, we're on our way there. If your guy's doing CPR and you're instructed by a doctor, he has a higher authority than me. And he's there on scene.
Okay.
Did anybody witness what happened?
No, just the doctor, sir. The doctor's been the only one here.
Okay, so the doctor see what happened?
Doctor, did you see what happened, sir? Sir, you just, if you can please.
We're on our way. We're on our way. I'm just passing these questions on to my paramedics while they're on the way there, sir.
Thank you, sir. He's pumping his chest, but he's not responding to anything, sir. Please.
Okay. We're on our way. We're less than a mile away, and we'll be there shortly.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Call us back if you need any help. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Emergency services were eventually called, and paramedics arrived at the home before transporting Jackson to Ronald Reagan UCLA Medical Center. Despite extensive efforts by medical staff, he was pronounced dead later that afternoon on June 25, 2009. He was 50 years old. The investigation that followed concluded that Jackson died from acute propofol intoxication. His death was ruled a homicide, and Conrad Murray was later convicted of involuntary manslaughter. What makes Jackson's final photographs so haunting is what they represent. They were not taken during a farewell performance, a final interview, or a planned goodbye. Instead, they captured a performer preparing for the next chapter of his life, completely unaware that within hours, one of the most famous careers in entertainment history would come to an unexpected end. On New Year's Day, 2026, what began as a celebration in a crowded Swiss nightclub became one of the deadliest fires in the country's modern history. At approximately 1:26 a.m., hundreds of young people were gathered inside Le Constellation, a popular bar and nightclub in the ski resort town of Crans-Montana. Many were celebrating the arrival of the new year when a waitress carrying champagne bottles fitted with sparklers moved through the venue. According to investigators, the sparklers were raised too close to the ceiling. Within moments, the ceiling caught fire. You are seeing that very moment. Witnesses described how quickly the situation escalated. Attempts to extinguish the flames failed almost immediately. Within seconds, smoke began pouring from the building. Experts believe highly flammable acoustic foam attached to the ceiling helped the fire spread at an extraordinary speed. The blaze rapidly developed into what is known as a flashover event, where nearly everything combustible inside a room ignites almost simultaneously. Panic followed. Many people inside the basement nightclub rushed toward a narrow staircase leading to the main exit. Survivors later described scenes of chaos as crowds attempted to escape. Some people smashed windows to get out, while others became trapped as the fire and smoke spread through the building. Investigators later reported that many victims were found near the main exit area, suggesting they had been only moments away from safety. Emergency services arrived within minutes. More than 150 personnel, dozens of ambulances and multiple helicopters were deployed as hospitals across the region struggled to cope with the scale of the disaster. In total, 41 people lost their lives, and more than 100 others were injured, many suffering severe burns. Half of those who succumbed to the smoke and fire were under the age of 18. As investigators examined the wreckage, troubling questions emerged. Reports suggested potential fire safety deficiencies, including concerns about flammable materials, emergency exits, and missed inspections. Criminal investigations were later launched into the circumstances surrounding the tragedy. The disaster became a national tragedy. A night that should have brought in the beginning of a new year instead ended in heartbreak, leaving dozens of families mourning loved ones who had simply gone out to celebrate with friends. Thank you so much for watching. I'm uploading daily true crime and dark content here on this channel, so make sure that you're subscribed, hit like on the video, and also drop a comment so you get shown more of my stuff. Please do be careful out there, and I'll see you tomorrow.